So it's one thing to have adrenaline to do something, that whole push of like something must be done. And it's another thing to do something that actually makes an impact. So
Sure. It's true. No, but looking back at it, I think it comes down to understanding what actually help means, because back in 2022, reflecting on it, there were a lot of people who wanted to help to some capacity and in different ways. And certain things were needed and certain things were just not needed yet. So it really, the question you should be asking is not what you want to do. The question you should be asking is, well, what helps? Right? Like, because sometimes in those kind of humanitarian crisis situations, basically for those people who might not understand sort of the lay of the land in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a huge migration. So I think it's around 8 million people now who moved from Ukraine to like other countries, including Europe. And I think Europe has about 6 million of them. So it's a very big amount. And in those kind of situations, you never really know what's going to happen. You can't quite predict how this is going to go. And most of the things that help in the beginning, they're not the glamorous things. They are like humanitarian aid, like sorting and bringing it there and giving information to people who are in a complete shock. Because also you have to remember that out of this 6 million people, potentially a lot of people have never been abroad. So like that evacuation was like the first time they've ever like traveled outside of Ukraine, and people are scared and they're nervous, and most of them are women and they have kids. And it's nerve-wracking to move to a foreign country. It's definitely nerve-wracking to move with your child to some place you had never been before. So what I remembered from my personal experience when I moved to Finland when I was 18, my experience has actually been a bit similar because it was 2014. So the war just started in Ukraine, and I moved and I knew nobody in Finland. Like my move to Finland to study was actually my first trip abroad.
wow.
So it was like, it was very, it wasn't like that, but it was quite similar in a way that I just moved here. Like it was crazy. Like looking back at it, it was like one of those crazy things. It was like you're 18, you know nothing, you have to figure out everything by yourself suddenly in a foreign country. And I feel like I really identified with how those people felt in the moment, or how they could potentially feel. And I realized, well, like, what they really need is like a step-by-step guide. What they really need is somebody to create sort of understanding of what to do in an unknown situation, relieve some of this pressure. And it started with just this information website. And obviously nobody thought that this whole situation would last for so long. We thought, 2 weeks. Okay, fine, 2 months. But it wasn't really over, and we've developed it. After a year and a half, I think we were like, yeah, I guess we have to do it seriously now, because nobody could predict how long it's gonna last. I guess where I'm aiming at, what I did use was my personal experience and understanding the needs of the people. And one of the concepts I keep bringing up was locus of control, because basically when I've heard the news, it's natural for people to feel like they have to do something in this situation, right? Like it's an invasion of a foreign country onto our territory. It feels wrong. It is on every single level. And a lot of people freeze in those situations, and I can't quite blame them because they feel quite powerless. Because, well, it's a global event. I can't stop the war. But in those kind of moments, you have to be very, I guess, honest with yourself in the sense that, okay, well, I can't control this. What is it that I can control? Right? So the concept of locus of control is something that I come back to for myself all the time. Okay, this is the situation I can't control, but what is it that's within my control? And creating something like this it was within my control. I could do it. I managed to figure out how to connect with the people and forward it to big organizations, and luckily it worked out.